Stretching nearly 50,000 kilometres, Australia's coastline has everything from endless sandy beaches to rugged cliffs. With an abundance of coastal and marine life, and extraordinary symbiosis between land and sea, there is a lot to dive into. So join us on a journey around Australia. In this first episode, we will be exploring the coast. The ocean has a kind of mystical power. I feel so small and humbled when I stare out into the open ocean. It kind of puts everything into perspective. One can watch the waves crash onto the shore for hours. It's truly hypnotizing. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land. I am very grateful to be able to travel here and learn about the culture and the land. Our journey begins in the southeast of Australia, and we are travelling north along the east coast. On our way along the South New South Wales coast, we came by the coastal township of Ulladulla. There we found a short culture walk called One Track for All. This walk tells the story of the area from an Aboriginal perspective. The carvings and paintings have been made by a local Aboriginal elder. It shows how the Indigenous Australians lived in harmony with the ocean, and how that all changed when Europeans arrived. To the tropical north, the south of Australia has a temperate climate. In this region, there are 4 distinct seasons with greater contrast in the temperature between summer and winter. Southern Australia is subject to a large-scale circulation known as the subtropical ridge. This high-pressure belt changes its position throughout the year. In the warmer months, it is positioned to the south and causes stable, high pressure and drier climates, and in the cooler months it moves north, which allows more rainy cold fronts to cross the south. As we head north, the air and the water starts to feel much warmer. This is because we are approaching the tropics. We are now in the subtropical region. This region stretches from Sydney to the coastal strip of Mackay in Queensland. 4 major ocean currents surround Australia. We are now along the largest of them, the East Australian Current. This current is formed by water from the Coral Sea, which is driven by monsoonal winds. It parallels the east coast from the Great Barrier Reef all the way down to the Tasman Sea. Many species, such as turtles or whales, ride this current. We have now arrived at Cape Byron. It is Australia's most easterly point, and here the East Australian Current is at its strongest. Destination is K'gari. The name translated means paradise, and it's definitely a name that does the island justice. It is the largest sand island in the world. It was formed by sands from the southeast shores carried north by ocean currents. Rainforests on K'gari are very unique, as it is one of the only places in the world where rainforests grow on sand. The sand here, with the help of fungi, is able to grow and sustain incredible flora. The island is home to many perched freshwater lakes. Perched lakes are formed when the base of a sand pit hardens with organic matter, creating a natural pool. Rainwater fills these pools, and the sand filters and cleans that water, resulting in incredible crystal clear lakes. K'gari is home to the purest wild dingoes. The dingo is Australia's only wild dog. It is said to have descended from South Asian wolves. Dingoes have inhabited Australia for roughly 4,000 years. On the mainland of Australia, dingoes began to breed with domestic dogs when European settlers arrived. Due to K'gari's isolation, the dingoes here remain pure. They hunt in packs and howl to communicate, just like wolves. The more north we go, the more tropical it becomes. We have now arrived at the Whitsunday Islands. They are composed of 74 islands, of which only 8 are inhabited. The islands are teeming with life, dense rainforests and white sandy beaches. The islands were discovered on Whitsunday in 1770 by British navigator James Cook, thus naming the islands Whitsundays. Although it must be said he was actually off by one day and was actually sailing on Monday, June the 4th, a small error which changed the naming history. The Whitsundays lie in between the Great Barrier Reef and are home to all kinds of marine life, from giant clams to migrating pilot and humpback whales who come here to breed. Surrounding the Whitsundays are fringing coral reefs. Approximately 500 species of coral are found here. These colourful creatures play a vital role in the ecosystem. Unfortunately, due to climate change and increasing water temperature, the corals face coral bleaching. Algae and coral have a symbiotic relationship. Although some corals can feed themselves, many are dependent on algae for food. In return, they convert sunlight to energy to create sugars to feed their host. Due to heat, algae leave the coral tissue, leaving behind an exposed white skeleton. Coral begin to starve once bleached, and are at risk of death if they are without algae for too long. I will talk a lot more about the importance of coral later on. Welcome to Magnetic Island. Located within the Great Barrier Reef, this beautiful island has 23 stunning beaches and bays and a wide array of wildlife. The island's towering hoop pines and huge granite boulders dominate the mountainous skyline. The rugged natural beauty is a haven for wildlife such as koalas, rock wallabies, echidnas, and a variety of tropical birds. Koalas are very relaxed creatures. They sleep up to 18 hours a day. The reason for this is their eucalyptus leaf-based diet, which is low in nutrition and toxic. A large amount of their energy is used to break down the toxic leaves. As koalas face multiple threats on the mainland, such as deforestation, droughts, diseases, and habitat loss, they were introduced to Magnetic Island in the 1930s to protect them. Magnetic Island is now home to the largest colony of koalas in northern Australia. This is a short-beaked echidna. They belong to the monotreme species, which means they are an egg-laying mammal. The only other monotremes are the long-beaked echidna, which lives in Papua New Guinea, and the platypus. These guys mainly feed on ants and termites and eat about up to 40,000 a day. As you can see, he is digging up soil to get to the ants. By turning over so much soil, he is improving soil mixture, water penetration, and reduces erosion, ultimately making healthier soils, leading to plant growth. We have now truly reached tropical North Queensland, home to Australia's apex predator, the saltwater crocodile. Salties inhabit rivers, estuaries, creeks, swamps, lagoons, and billabongs, so basically anywhere there is water, no matter if fresh or salt. And they will eat just about anything they can catch. Once hunted almost to extinction, crocodiles have recovered very well since being protected, and their numbers are now stable. Males grow larger than females and average at about 3 to 5 meters. The largest one ever officially recorded had a length of at least 6.1 meters. Crocodiles actually never stop growing, so it is likely that bigger ones have existed or still exist. It's such a cool experience to see these guys out here in the wild. Crocs are extremely intelligent hunters, and with many people living and visiting their habitat, incidents do occur. But if you follow precautions and don't go swimming up here in the north, they can easily be avoided. We are now in the oldest surviving rainforest on the planet, estimated to be up to 165 million years old, and it borders the world's largest living organism, the Great Barrier Reef. These two beautiful and vital ecosystems share a symbiotic relationship with each other. This relates to water, or to be specific, water quality. The high volume of rain in the wet tropics moves through the Daintree Rainforest into the sea and the reef. A healthy rainforest acts as a filter so that only fresh water runs off into the catchment. A healthy rainforest means a healthy reef. Due to deforestation and agriculture, the reef closest to the shore has been severely impacted. Healthy coral reefs are crucial to the ecosystem. More than 25% of all marine life calls them home. They also absorb wave energy and protect the coast from erosion and damage from storm, hurricanes, and cyclones. Our journey on the east coast has come to an end. We will now cross the Savannah Way, all the way from Cairns in Queensland to Broome in Western Australia. Welcome to the West Coast, also known as Australia's Coral Coast, a place where coastal wonders meet ancient arid landscapes. We are now in Exmouth, which marks the beginning of the Ningaloo Reef. The Ningaloo Reef fringes 300 kilometres of Australia's west coast. It is one of the world's largest fringing reefs. Ningaloo Reef is home to so many amazing species, such as whale sharks, orcas, humpback whales, turtles, manta rays, dolphins, and many more. We were privileged to experience some of these amazing animals. One of the most magical experiences I had was lying in bed one night, listening to the waves crash onto shore and hearing the humpback whales sing. Humpback whales around the world sing a nearly identical tune, and from one year to the next, that song evolves into a new melody. Here we have a pod of Indo-Pacific bottlenose dolphins. As you will see in this footage, they are incredibly social and playful animals. They can jump up to 5 meters above the surface, and they form friendships that last decades. Ningaloo Reef is under constant threat of big industries. One of them wants to build an industrial deepwater port just south of Exmouth, and on the other side of the Gulf, another is looking to develop a massive salt production and barging operation. The locals are constantly having to fight back against such proposals. This area is such an important stronghold for many threatened species, and it's important we keep it that way. To learn more about these problems and what you can do to help, visit protectningaloo.org.au. I will include a link in the description. One of the most famous and mystical creatures of the Ningaloo is the whale shark. They gather here when plankton blooms provide rich food sources. They are the largest living fish and can grow up to 15 to 20 meters long. They can dive to depths of up to 1,000 meters. Unfortunately, these beautiful sharks are endangered due to fisheries, bycatch, and demand for shark fins. There are still so many things we don't know about these gentle giants. For example, how long they live, where adult females live, where they give birth, and where they travel to. Nature just never ceases to amaze me. This mesmerizing pink lake, which is called Hutt Lagoon, between Port Gregory and Kalbarri, gets its colour from a carotenoid-producing algae. As we move further south on the west coast, we reach Kalbarri National Park. The coastline of Kalbarri is fascinating. These sandstone cliffs tower up to 100 meters over the ocean. This particular type found here is called Tumbler Gouda sandstone, and it features red and white rocks. The red and white striping of the sandstone is caused by iron oxide staining the rocks. These formations are believed to be about 400 million years old. It is such a unique landscape, and it feels like you're on a different planet. The cliffs also offer a great vantage point to watch the migrating humpback whales. Incredible granite outcrops occur on the southwestern coastline. They create microhabitats for plants and provide resources and refuge for a range of wildlife. The granite outcrops along the southern coast have been dramatically formed from the high winds and waves from the Southern Ocean. They form dramatic and steep coastlines. The southwest of Australia is one of the world's 34 internationally recognised biodiversity hotspots, and it is Australia's first. Most freshwater species and around 80% of marine species, including 24 shark species, live nowhere else on Earth. This area especially is extremely vulnerable to climate change. It has been identified as a global drying hotspot. The southwest is known for its Mediterranean climate, with hot, dry summers and most rainfall in winter. Since 1970, the region's summertime temperatures have risen and winter rainfall has declined. The oceans around the southwest are warming faster than 90% of the global ocean since the middle of the last century. The waters of the southwest are part of the Great Southern Reef, and as the waters warm, species move south. Warm water species move in, and cool water species flee to escape the heat. Once cool water species reach the southern coast, there is nowhere colder to go. They can't survive in the deep sea and are at risk of going extinct. If this beautiful biodiverse hotspot is to survive, we must stop climate change. Here we have a southern right whale mother with its calf. They travel to these warmer waters and shelter in these shallow bays after spending summer in sub-Antarctic waters. A recent study has found that southern right whales learn their migration routes from their mothers, so where they go to breed is a cultural tradition. These beautiful giants can live up to 100 years old and grow up to 18 meters in length. The southern right whale was once abundant in the waters of southern Australia, but their numbers were drastically reduced during whaling in the 1800s. Even their name stems from that time, as the whalers named them the right whale to catch because of their meat and higher oil content, and because of their habit of spending time in bays and sheltered coastal areas. They made an easy target. They had virtually disappeared by the beginning of the 20th century, and whaling continued in Australia until 1978. Fortunately, with protection, they are making a recovery and their numbers are gradually increasing. It is believed that southern right whales only calf every 3 to 5 years, and only a single young is born after a 12-month pregnancy. Within a year, this calf will be independent, but for now it can enjoy these warm and safe bays in the south of Australia before heading out into Antarctic waters for summer. What an amazing place to finish off the southwest coast. Lucky Bay actually is a very important place of my history, as it is where my parents met. It was beautiful to finally be here after hearing so much about this special part of Australia. Next, we will be crossing the Nullarbor to South Australia. The southern coast is home to the endangered Australian sea lions and New Zealand fur seals. Here we have the only permanent colony of Australian sea lions. To feed, they deep dive to prey on bottom-dwelling fish, squid, lobsters, and even small sharks and rays. Of course, they must watch out for the great white sharks with whom they share these waters. The peace is interrupted as the males fight each other. They fight from a very young age to establish their positions in the hierarchy, and during the breeding season for the right to breed with the females.